everyone, and welcome to Today is the Day. My name is Jody Grinwald, and I am a certified professional coach, a not-for-profit consultant, business strategist, transformational and executive coach, and to top all of that off, I'm also the CEO of the Zach G. Aploder Kids Foundation, which is an organization that provides full funding to children who need and want to connect to an ongoing performing arts lessons. And I say all that because many of us are wearing multiple hats. We are living in our passion, doing other things too, and just trying to do anything that we can to ensure that we are living life to the fullest. And so I created this channel so that I can talk to the game changers, the dreamers, and the people who are making a difference every single day in this world. And it's an avenue for them to share their stories in a very real way. And I'm here today with a good friend of mine, Rashad Malik Davis, who has truly been making a difference in all that he does. As he's overcome obstacles, he's changed course, and he's created something magical and beautiful. So hi, my friend.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
Of course, I'm so happy to have you with us today. And I'm happy to bring forth your story because I think your story is just truly amazing from where you started to what you're doing right now. And the juggle, right? It's real. The juggle of all the things I mentioned. So real, right?
The juggle is like, it's so real, it's 3D. I don't even know.
That's a good way to put it. It is 3D. But I know where you are today is not where you expected to be when it was years ago when you were in college. So I thought we could start with, we'll start there and then we'll kind of make our way through how we met and where you are today. And so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Rashad?
For sure. So as far as who I am and what I do, I'm an award-winning author, illustrator, and educator based out in Lawrence, New Jersey. So my work focuses on empathy, emotional literacy, diversity in all of its forms. So gender identity, culture, class, whatever, what have you. I really love diving into the things that make us different and focusing on that. So as far as my journey goes, I like you mentioned, Jody. I'll start with college. So I really do believe that the universe kind of gives us breadcrumbs, and we kind of stumble along and eventually we notice them. But I was really resistant to a career in the arts. To be honest with you, I really fell into the trap of what if I'm hungry? What if I can't get work? Like how can I create a career as an artist? Like what does that look like? And so I avoided it, and truthfully, I didn't dive into it. But my freshman year, I took a figure drawing class because I wanted some kind of art in my life. And my art teacher, walked up behind me and she said, your art is really good. You're a really good drawer. Like, are you doing anything with this besides this class? And I said, no, not really. And she said, well, you should. But it wasn't really until my senior year that I, kind of got that kick in the butt from the universe again. And one of my good friends, Amanda Valentine, she reached out to me and she said, hey, I suggested your name to be the kind of like the headliner for the Africana Center and sharing your work with the community. So I was selected as the first African-American to share my work. Through that gallery exhibition, a professor of mine reached out and said, hey, I'm looking for somebody to design my books or my book cover. Would you be interested? So I freaked out because I didn't know that you can get paid to do that. So, my work ended up getting selected out of hundreds and was published by Rutgers University Press, which was like, what? That was like my first really big breadcrumb. And from there, I was like, okay, well, if I could do this, what else can I do? And so I decided to create a children's book, or I decided to post on my Facebook, I should say, and say, I'm looking for freelance work. I decided to take a leap of faith, fake it till you made it. A friend of mine reached out to me. She said, hey, my sister is looking for an illustrator. Would you be interested in illustrating the book? And I said, sure, why not? The book ended up becoming a #1 bestseller on Amazon, which blew my mind. But at this point in my story, things kind of took a little bit of a dip as life happens. So I ended up being in an abusive relationship, emotionally, mentally abusive relationship, verbally abusive relationship for about 8 months. And, it was an awful time. But at the end of that period, I realized I was at a crossroads where I was like, okay, so I can choose to either consider myself a victim and wallow in this and, wither away and die, or I can go ahead and use that power that I gave away for 8 months, and invest that in myself. And so I chose the latter, and really decided to jump headfirst into loving me, diving into the things that I realized I needed to do. And I applied to a graduate program, to an animation graduate program. It was the number 3 in the school. I mean, in the entire U.S. for animation. I got in and decided to leap then into a career in animation. Lo and behold, while I was there, again, I'm a very spiritual person, so I kind of got rerouted, and felt guided to really put the program on hold and pursue a career in entrepreneurship, and was guided to create a children's book. And I said, how is that going to get me, the things that I need? And lo and behold, here we are, 2 awards later, and a literary agent, and schools and thousands of children reach. Like, it's the best feeling in the world, and it came from trusting myself and investing in me, which I'm very grateful for.
I want to unpack some of that, because that's a lot of like unbelievable information. And I think for people who are listening, going back to what you said about being in a relationship that is just not healthy, and
Yeah.
a lot of times you can get stuck, and a lot of people do.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get stuck and give away your energy, and you don't even know you're doing it.
Yeah.
No idea it's happening. Okay.
Right.
And so it took a lot. It had to have taken a lot, of internal energy of your own,
Yeah.
support from others around you to help you. I know we've talked about that, to really then say, no, this is my time. This is for me, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to re-energize myself because I'm worth it.
Yes.
And realizing that you're worth it, and
Mm.
count, and that you matter enough to redirect yourself and to have patience with yourself. And, as we've talked about too, celebrating those little wins along the way,
Yes.
whether you're surrounded by people who celebrate you, or you're celebrating internally and putting out to whatever you call the universe, God, whatever it is for you, that you want to surround yourself with those who are positive and inspiration and motivational.
Yes.
So that you can continue your journey. And,
Right.
And you did that, or we wouldn't be sitting here today. And so for those who are listening, who may feel like that is not going to happen for them, you are walking proof that it is absolutely something that can happen for anyone. Because I'm assuming that when you were in it, you might not have felt that you were going to be where you are today.
Yeah. No. From the beginning, initially I truthfully went to grad school for well, I initially went to undergrad, and was interested mainly in like business and the practical jobs that I knew were safe, quote unquote. But as we can see, unfortunately, with the current global situation, there's nothing safe even in those safe jobs, because at any moment you realize that you are at the discretion of somebody else, and that there's risk really either way. And I went into my art career thinking that the children's book thing would be kind of like a temporary thing, and I would mosey my way into video game work. But I realized, one, that I loved working with kids. I had a job like immediately after college. I worked out of Life Touch Photography, and I realized that I had a knack for making kids laugh and working with them and getting their attention. And I was constantly getting praise from parents, being like, what are your hours? Like, I love the way that you work with my kids. And at some point, when I left the job, excuse me, I feel like I'm 13 again with that voice crack. When I left the job, my boss at the time, she reached out to me, texted me. She was like, "Are you sure you want to leave? So I've got a lot of angry parents who want you to come back." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, I need to get paid more than $8 an hour, but thank you."
I've got college bills now at this.
Right. I was like, I've got student loans. I need to tackle this first.
You had mentioned that, one night, I think it was at night, you had said there were 3 words that came to you when it came to your book. I think you were watching a show or something like that, and you jotted them down on a Post-it note. Can you share a little bit about that story?
Of course, of course. So, I was sitting there with my mom, and this was actually while I was at SCAD. I was home on winter break or Thanksgiving break or something like that. And I was sitting on the couch hanging out with my best friend and my mom. And it just felt like this huge information download into my head. And it was like, bing. But I saw 3 words. It was chakras, best friends, and adventure. And immediately I freaked out. I was just given something. I gotta go. And I ran upstairs. I put the note on a little sticky note. I have it somewhere still in my room. But I put the note on a little sticky note. And, from there, I think I put the book or the title, or I took the sticky note and I put it on an Entertainment Weekly magazine. And I was like, I'm gonna be here. And now here we are, with a literary agent and awards, and I think that this is just the beginning. So, I'm really a big believer in manifesting something and writing it down. Writing it down is huge for me.
Tell us about the books and then a little bit about the story.
Yes. So the book series was inspired by a few things. Growing up, I was always deeply sensitive, but I never felt comfortable with that because I was male bodied, right? So, men are told very often kind of stuff, and if not direct ways, indirect ways, to basically stuff your feelings, don't be sensitive, that's feminine, whatever, which was doubly confusing as both a man and a gay man, but that's like a whole nother conversation. Um, but the book was inspired by that, my love for diving into my emotional life and wanting kids to feel safe in doing that. It was inspired, unfortunately, by the shooting death of Tamir Rice. He was a young 12-year-old Black boy who was killed by a police officer who assumed he had a weapon on a playground. And so, I was heartbroken by that, and I really wanted to create a safe space for children, Black children and children of color, especially, to know that there was at least a place in a book where they could feel safe to explore their world. And so, the book series itself, and I can show you the book here.
Yes, please.
So the book series itself is about 2 best friends, Amir and Nina here, who travel into the spirit world by accident, and they get stuck there until they can heal the emotions of 7 different supernatural heroes who all require some kind of like emotional healing in order for them to move on to the next level or to the next book. So this first book deals with fear and is based in ancient Egypt, or like a fictional fantasy ancient Egypt. And then this second book here is based on sadness and how we cope with sadness and deal with it and allow it to move through us. And it's based in ancient Mexico, specifically the Aztecs, or the Mexica is their indigenous name. So it's been amazing, like going to schools and seeing kids light up and bum rush me like I'm a superstar. They're like, oh my God, because they're used to seeing authors be, a lot older. So they're just kind of like, oh my God, this is so cool, it's really great. I love it.
That's how I feel when I see you too, Rashad. Stars in the room who I literally met when I worked for the Mid-Jersey Chamber of Commerce at an event. We actually spoke on the phone, right? And then we met at an event, and that was like the beginning of a friendship that I'm so grateful for.
That was incredible. I had no clue what I was getting into, and actually, I had and again, this is just a testament to tenacity. So the reason why I actually ended up connecting with you was because I had to apply for food stamps, because I was just, and I don't want to I don't want to make my journey seem as if it was a fantasy, because it wasn't. Like first getting into the arts and deciding that this was what I wanted to do and trying to do it full time meant that I had to sacrifice a lot. And so I had to rely on my mother, my family for their financial, emotional, physical support. And I am eternally grateful to them. And when I get the money, I'm gonna put them up in like a yacht and just a house floating on an island somewhere.
That's
Um,
awesome.
but I don't want to gloss over the fact that like my journey hasn't been easy, and I had to take part in a college job training program, despite the fact that I had a college degree. And they were like, so I was talking about my goals, and the woman said, have you ever considered looking at a chamber of commerce? I said, I haven't, but let me reach out. And you were the first person that I spoke to in any organization, and I was like, I don't know what they're about yet, but I like her, so I'm coming.
I'm so glad I was that first person. And you just don't know, right? Until you put it out there, you don't know who you're going to find that's just going to be able to help you connect, or even just help you as a friend, become a friend.
Yes, no, like your friendship alone. I mean, like apart from the financial, career, mentor, business, networking aspect, that has been incredible. But just having you as a friend has been remarkable. So I'm super grateful to you for a myriad of reasons.
And I didn't pay you to say that on this broadcast.
Yes, you did. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
But I've gotten to see you from a distance, grow, and the things that you've done. And let's talk, oh my God, literary agent? Oh my God, right?
Yes. So again, I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason and alignment and all that good stuff. But the agency and the agent specifically that connected with me, my good friend Nirvana, she reached out to me and she said, hey, so the person who told you about Penguin Books, because this friend had also suggested I reach out to Penguin Books. She said Noah wants to meet with you because she now has the ability to sign authors to her agency. And I was like, oh yeah, that sounds great. So as it turns out, Noah saw my book at a mutual friend's house and was like, I love what this person is doing, do you know them? we ended up we ended up both going to Tufts. So Noah was the year after me. So I graduated, and the year afterwards she graduated, and I didn't get a chance to formally meet her, but we crossed paths. And the reason that we connected was because we both had this Tufts connection. And so she's incredible. I've loved working with her. Noah Rosen at Susanna Leah Associates. It's a literary agency based out in Europe and in New York as well. So the big thing that I was really drawn to is the fact that not only do they have a US audience, but graphic novels and children's books and stuff are really big and on the rise in Europe. So they're looking for that. So it was just like this perfectly serendipitous moment, and I'm super grateful to her and to the universe for bringing me her. Cool stuff.
So let me ask you this: third book?
Yes. So I'm working on that right now. In addition to this graphic novel project for young adults that I've been working on. So I've got my hands full, but I'm working with Noah on both things. And actually, we've talked about the fact that I'm most likely going to have to rewrite and re-illustrate some certain portions of Carefree Like Me to make it more of a continuous story. Because right now it is, but I was going in very not knowing what I was doing. So now I can come in with more skills, more understanding, and build a more cohesive world. So I'm super excited.
I can tell you, I've read the books, and I can tell you, it looked like you knew exactly what you were doing. What it's going to be once you change anything around, and I know you'll always put your heart and soul in whatever you create. So that's what's so awesome about you and who you are as a human being.
Thank you.
But I think there's so many messages that I wanted to share. That's why I wanted you to be on with me. There's so many messages wrapped in this interview, from starting out in business, definitely not ending up in business. Not right. This is a very different space.
Right.
Maybe not in the best of relationships, and realizing that you weren't investing in yourself and having the courage, and it takes a tremendous amount of courage, internal courage, to go from there to say, I'm gonna change course and put that energy into myself.
Right. Right.
And listening to the signs of those three words changed your life, right?
Completely and utterly changed my life. And I just think about, what if I wasn't sensitive? What if I wasn't in tune enough with myself to realize that that was a message for me? And I wouldn't be here if I heard those 3 words and just continued to sit on the couch and was like, oh, okay, I'll get to it eventually. But I was like, no, I got to do it now.
Right. And so my message is consistently through Today is the Day, and my organization is, when I'm working with clients, is listen and pay attention. It could be the most menial thing that comes to mind, but if you have a second thought about it, there's a reason that it came to you, and you need to write it down, and you need to think about it.
Yes.
So I love that message and what you're saying, because it's life-changing, right?
Yeah, no, it's so life changing. And I think, the theme for this year, um, and is something that applies not only to just relationships and just general life stuff, but for business as well, is learning to show up authentically and to have boundaries while you're doing that. Because I realize that a lot of my life, the things that I've struggled with have been related to lack of boundaries and a lack of showing up authentically, and being confident enough to show up as myself in all spaces, regardless of who's there. Because one, it gives permission for somebody else who might be afraid to be themselves, permission to be themselves. And two, you establish the parameters around which others respond to you. And if you don't tell people how to treat you, or if you don't show them, then they're going to treat you how they're going to treat you. So.
Oh my gosh, that's a whole other conversation unto itself, because it is so true. We teach people how to treat us. We really do. You don't realize it, but it's so true. The boundaries are really difficult. Some are great. They put them up, and they put them up real quick, and you're like, whoa.
Right.
Others are like, there's none, because they're afraid to put them up.
Yes.
It's finding the balance of how quickly do we put them up. And we always need to have them. That's the other piece. Sometimes people don't even have them.
Right.
And that's why sensitive people who don't have them can get hurt and wind up in relationships that might not be where they should be. So that makes perfect sense. And
exactly.
Absolutely. My father had a saying about life being about showing up and conversation. And I think that, the more you talk to people and learn from people, everybody is your teacher or your student, depends on the conversation, the time of day.
Yes.
Right? Where you're at in that moment. So,
yes.
I've learned a lot from you, my friend. That's for sure.
Likewise. Oh my God. I can't even imagine where I'd be without Jody.
Oh, stop. You're so sweet. You are so sweet. And I so appreciate you being open and sharing some of the things that you've been through. And we're all cheering you on as you make, your way through your journey. So where can we get these books, so that if people want to see what everything's about, tell them where they can find them?
Yes. So I'm just going to share it on the screen, because I have. So if you see the back of the book here, yep. I realize it might be backwards, but it's www.ramalik, RAMALIK, and then illustrations.com. That's my website. My Twitter handle is @Rashad M. Davis. And then my Instagram is my website address. So it's Ramalik_illustration. So those are my 3 main ways to connect with me, and you'll get introduced to the magic of
Yes. Yes, I was going to say, show us some pages of that beautiful artwork that you created, written and illustrated by Rashad, who is super, super talented and has a special way of working with kids and getting them to be open.
Thank you. No, I'm really blessed to be able to work with the kids and the families that I do, and to see them light up at seeing themselves in stories, but also being introduced to new worlds and new people that they wouldn't have been otherwise. It's just like, there's nothing that can top that.
Let me ask you, before we end, my friend, what's a special message that you would want to leave to someone who might be feeling like they want to do something They don't know where to begin. They don't know how to start, or they don't believe that they can do it.
Oh, that's a good one. I would say take the first step. And that sounds super cliche and super just like super easy, but it's really not. And I think that's the thing that holds a lot of people back. It's what held me back, is just committing to myself. You know, I think it's very easy for us to show up for other people, but when it comes to ourselves, we're like, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. I'm gonna be here. Whatever, I'll do it tomorrow. But you know, nothing's promised. So take the 10, 20, 30 minutes that it takes to just give yourself a plan. Just say, I want to do this. What do I need? Think about what you need. Just start to plan. Just take the first step, and you will find yourself obsessed with making that plan come to life as soon as you make that first step. I promise you. It will come to life as long as you just make incremental steps every day.
Yeah, I love that. And I agree with you. And it's about, it could be as simple as buying the journal that you're going to write down the information as it comes to you. It can be that simple, and celebrating the step that you took each time you take one, knowing that it's close, you're getting closer and closer.
Yes. So, one more message too.
Yes, please.
If you can, invest in therapy, because it is incredible. No, I don't mean that. I mean that so seriously. Like, if you know, I think, you know, beyond just the taking the first step, it's like learning actionable steps to loving yourself, and loving yourself enough to realize where you're holding yourself back. Is key. And if you have the resources, therapy is incredible. No shame, no stigma. Mental health is key. So,
oh my gosh, it is. Mentors. I believe mentors too. If whether it's and if you cannot afford, or you do not have the ability to go for therapy, which I am totally with you on and on board on, mentors. You know, just people who you look up to, reaching out to them. 99% of the time, people are willing to have conversations with people who need and ask for assistance. It's you taking that first step. That small percentage that says no, they're not supposed to be on your journey anyway.
Right.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so excited you were able to do this with me.
Thank you so much, Jody. This was amazing. This was also just an excuse to chat with you, because I haven't seen you in God knows how long.
We haven't seen each other in a long time, I know, but we will definitely do that. And I want everybody to remember that today is the day. It is the only day that we're given. We cannot go back to yesterday, and we do not yet own tomorrow. So I hope that you take the first step today, that one, whatever that step is for yourself. And because if it's about you and for you, you will make it happen. So I want to say goodbye to everybody, and we'll see you very soon. And again, thank you, Rashad.
Thank you, Jody. This was amazing.